Yo, what is good with y'all? It's your boy KAG, and today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo NX and the possibility of the return of the Wii. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's hop into this video. Now, before all of y'all went ahead and y'all went to go hit that dislike button, let me explain myself and exactly what I believe is actually going on here, right? So let's go back to where everything really happened, and that was the Eurogamer rumor, right? So we have this rumor out here from Eurogamer about the Nintendo NX being a hybrid that has a controller on this one side and a controller on the other side and a screen in the middle, right? Now, if you actually think about that, if you were to remove the actual controllers on the end of the screen, what would you have? You would technically have something that looks similar to like a Wiimote, right? Because you would have something in one hand that's kind of like stick shaped because of the tablet shape, and then you have something that's also stick shaped on the other side, which, you know, would kind of be in the shape or the form of a actual Wiimote, correct? But anyways, so, you know, Eurogamer came out and they were saying that it's supposed to be two controllers, maybe two people could play on this mobile device at the same time. But let's take a look at another article and what they actually said about this. So if we actually go ahead and we look at DigiTimes, right? We have Nintendo NX mass production postponed to early 2017, but then we actually go ahead and we scroll down here to what they actually state about the NX. Now let me remind you, this actually came out Thursday the 2nd of June 2016. So it actually came out about 2 months ahead of time. Now, if we actually read here, it says, the sources pointed out that the Nintendo NX combines the video gaming experience with the mobile gaming experience. The device features a 5 to 7 inch display, controller, and joystick for users to play as a mobile gaming product, but it is also able to connect to a TV for users to play as a video game system. Nintendo is now planning to add VR function to the device to satisfy the popular trend in the gaming market. Now, if we actually look at what they said about the device, they say it has a 5 to 7 inch display, so that seems about right with what Eurogamer said. But then right here, there was a differentiation right here, where it says controller and joystick. If you type in a controller in Google and you look at images, you'll see stuff that looks like, you know, the PlayStation controller, maybe even the Wiimote, you know, 64 controller. These are controllers. They have physical buttons as well as they have usually like a D-pad or maybe an analog stick. But if you look up a joystick, what you'll get more than likely is probably something that looks similar to an Atari or something like that. And a joystick is pretty much an analog stick, right? And if you have an analog stick that is separate, what is that? Well, that's typically your nunchuck for your Wiimote, right? And if you have a controller, well, that would typically be probably your Wiimote, considering that this thing runs along the sides of the actual device. So you would have a Wiimote and a nunchuck, right? Now, let's go take this a little bit further as to why I believe that this might actually be the case that the Wii is actually making a return. Now, if we actually go ahead and we look at some recent patents, you actually see where they have a video gaming using dual motion sensing controllers, right? This is a new patent for the Wiimote. It was actually filed January 29th, 2016, so that's this year. Now, if we actually go here, we have another patent for the Wiimote, a game operating device. And then if we have another one right here, and now this one has to do with a shell. So right here, as you can see, there's like a little shell right here that the actual Wiimote, or, you know, whatever this new controller might be, can actually pop into, and you can actually use it as a regular traditional controller. Now, if you actually take a look at this controller, it's actually in the resemblance of like a GameCube, because this is the actual GameCube layout. You got the A, B, X, and Y's, and they replaced the C stick down there with a circle pad, and then you also have this analog stick right here and a D-pad. Now, if we scroll down a little bit further, we'll also see where, you know, we have some more sensors for the Wiimote, as well as you have this another controller here. Then we also have another patent for another type design. This one is more of a 64 style, like Nintendo 64. If you actually look at this right here, it's not the same as the other one, because this is actually like a 64 nub. And then you got your D-pad, your A, B, X, and Y's, and all of that. Actually, and they actually use like the little C, you know, like the C buttons. And then you have your Super Nintendo and your NES, right? So, going on a little further. Now, remember how I said that this actually could potentially, you know, be used like another Wiimote, right? You know, and if you actually take a look at the device, what it's actually doing is it's combining the Wii U gamepad with the Wiimote. Because if you actually look at what happened when the Wii U came out, the Wii U kind of differentiated itself from the Nintendo Wii, which the Nintendo Wii was the successful product. But, you know, they just pretty much threw a gamepad in your hand, and then the Wiimote was kind of left out to the side, out in the dirt. So nobody really used the Wiimote with the Wii U, because, you know, they actually made the gamepad, you know, its own entity. But now it looks like Nintendo's actually taking the actual Wiimotes and combining it with the actual Wii U gamepad to actually make it one device, so you have both controls in one device. Now, let's say you were actually going to just use the sticks, right? Well, they have this thing out called OSVR, which Nintendo is invested into, right? That is pretty much open source virtual reality. This is something they've invested into. But if you actually take a look at this, right? I'm gonna show y'all something. If you actually go ahead and you type in Nintendo, what pops up down here is the fact that Nintendo and the Wiimote is actually a usable device with this new open source VR. You can use a Wiimote with this actual, you know, open source VR. So, but then you actually go ahead and you bring it back to the original article right here with DigiTimes. You actually see where they said Nintendo is now planning to add VR function to the device to satisfy the popular trending in the gaming market. So if you have this controller and this joystick, you know, they would actually complement VR easily, because it's part of, you know, this would be the next evolution, the real true evolution of the Nintendo Wii, and not the actual Wii U. Now, let's continue on a little bit more evidence. Now, as y'all all know, Just Dance 2017 was announced by the Nintendo NX. And, you know, they stated that it's coming to all motion sensing gaming consoles, right? So, if you have these two Wiimote type devices, that would actually make it more of, you know, a motion sensing console, right? But if we actually go ahead and we take a look here at another statement right here by Ubisoft. Ubisoft is confident that Nintendo NX can recapture the lapsed Wii players. Now, if they're recapturing the lapsed Wii players, doesn't that mean that they might capture them by, you know, the actual way of the Wii? You know, because the people that played the Wii, they were bowling, they were golfing, and all this stuff, right? But let's say if we went ahead and we took either VR and AR, or augmented reality, and we combined both of them with the Wii that everybody loved in the beginning, all the casuals loved in the beginning, what you would have is a new advanced Wii that majority of those people would be more attracted to, because it would actually, you know, maybe implement some type of new type of way to play, along with the actual use of the Wiimote that they were all used to in the beginning. Now, if we actually go ahead and we take another look at something else, we have the fact that Link is right-handed in Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, why is this interesting? Well, you know what? Link is usually left-handed. He generally, in every game he's in, he's left-handed when he swings his sword. Now, if we look in all the videos and everything now, he is right-handed. But the interesting thing is, in the Twilight Princess, you know, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, he was right-handed. Why was he right-handed? Well, because of the Wiimote and Nunchuck, because people would use the Wiimote to swing his sword. Now, if we go ahead and we take a look right here, down here at the bottom, we have Anuma making his statement as to why Link is right-handed. Now, let's go ahead and let's read this, right? He says, in terms of right-handedness of things, when we think about which hand Link is going to use, we think about the control scheme, right? We think about the control scheme. Now, if the control scheme is, Wiimote and Nunchuck, then it's possible the control scheme would have something to do with him being right-handed because majority of people are right-handed. But let's go ahead and continue. He says, with the gamepad, the buttons you'll be using to swing the sword are on the right side, and thus he is right-handed. Now, doesn't that sound a little fishy to y'all? I mean, for me, it sounds a little odd that they would actually go ahead and put the buttons, because the buttons are on the right hand side, and you click the buttons with the right hand, he's gonna be right-handed. It doesn't quite make real sense. But anyways, let me know what y'all all think about this. Do y'all think I am onto something? I mean, it looks pretty odd, everything looks like it's maybe leading towards, Nintendo NX being a combination of the Wii and the Wii U, done the way it was initially supposed to be done. So rather than two separate devices, like you have the X, Nintendo NX, it would actually be the crossing over of the two, as well as, the handheld and the console. But anyways, if you be sure to click that like button, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, because we talk about all things Nintendo, man. I'm out of here. Peace.